Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Royal Family. That's what we are. That's our nickname. We are the Royal Family. We're regal, sophisticated, and sometimes we eat things that are a little bit out of our price range, but we are now known as the Royal Family. I'm Tracy. I'm joined today by Marlon. Say hello, Marlon.
Hello, everybody.
And before I get started with this video, of course, I want to remind you to please hit the like buttons. My likes have been going up recently. I really appreciate it. So like this video, comment on it. Of course, you can always share. And of course, I would be remiss if I did not announce that we're having a scavenger hunt on September the 22nd. Get your tickets now because once I get to 50, I stop selling tickets. It's for me to get better equipment because I need 2 monitors so that I can start sharing my content in a better fashion and look just a little bit more professional. You can always hit me up on my website, tracymediallc.com. And I want you to, of course, support Marlon on his Patreon, Radical Truth to Power. And since he's not here, I'll just go ahead and do Theus's Complex Mind and his Patreon. So we're going to start talking tonight about a very interesting subject. And again, I'm not talking about the slap. I'm going to just continue not to talk about it. We've got more things to be angry about. Clarence Thomas, raggedy behind, still won't resign from the Supreme Court. It's 70 degrees in the Antarctica. $16 billion has been pulled from COVID funding. Now people are going to have to pay out of pocket to get tested. There's a lot of things to be angry about. But Marlon, I want to. Oh, we got somebody checking in. Hello, hello, hello.
What's up, this?
I want to talk about if you were president. What would you do if you were president? And okay, let me pat this. So Congress couldn't stop you. You could do anything you wanted to legislatively. What would you do?
It's way too many things.
Well, we got an
Way.
hour and some minutes, so just start it.
Voters' rights is going to get paid. Minimum wage is going to be at least $17 an hour across the board. In Northeast, um, reparations. Let me see probably put in a couple of more laws to I wouldn't even I'm not even gonna go with the whole crime bill and all this other stuff. I would start making the federal government start
A
I don't know
database.
what no, I'm trying to find a way of saying this because it was an idea that somebody had, but it was a better way of just saying that now all police shootings, let's say that all police shootings, all police accidents, all police is reviewed on a federal level instead of the state level.
Yep.
Or even for the simple fact that even saying by the state level, the fact that it's going any shootings whatsoever is taken out of that department's hands for investigation. Either go to the SBI of that state or it's taken to the federal level for investigation. But the department itself cannot investigate themselves.
No, that's I put this comment back up because I want to know why we sending them to Hawaii. Put me in
Yeah,
Hawaii.
like Hawaii.
Yeah, that's a great place. Hawaii is awesome. You send them to a hot state where it never rains, like New Mexico or Idaho or
He
Somewhere else.
got term limits up here.
Yep.
And I would put that. Yeah, I would start for Congress and the Senate.
You know what?
That you
Okay.
have term limits that people cannot just. That being a politician has now become your career for the rest of your natural born life.
I see where you're getting. Part of me wants to agree, but there's another part of me that disagrees with term limits. And I'll tell you what. Elections. That's your term limit. If you've got somebody in there that's doing not the Nancy Pelosi's and the Jim Clyburns and the Chuck Schumers that have been there since I was a child. But if you got somebody in there doing a halfway decent job, why get them out?
Because the simple fact is, we still have more people doing wrong to this country than right. And those are the ones that just really need to be getting out. We can sit there and say we can vote people out all we want to, and then you think about not Joe Manchin, the other crypt keeper,
Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell, thank you.
I was like,
So you got Mitch McConnell up there who you could say you could vote him out, but you got to realize that he done been up there for so long now. His power and influence is affecting the United States, and that state is not going to vote him out. He is in there for the whatever time he wants to be in there, and he knows it, because that's why he didn't even debate the and I can't remember the lady's name. I apologize. That did run against him. He wouldn't even debate him, and wouldn't even explain why he wouldn't debate him, and for the simple fact that I ain't got to, I'm going to be voted in. I got other things to do.
Yeah, she's the one, Amy McGrath, she called herself a Trump Democrat. Like, what? Huh? What? But,
yeah. So, yeah, we got to have some term limits to, and I don't even see why, and I'm not jumping on you, Tracy. Other people have said that too, what you said. But my deal is their mentality to say that you put a term limit on a president because you don't want them to have so much power. But you wouldn't do that for a Senate and Congress, who really are the ones who make the laws.
Okay, so here comes my follow-up question. What would be the term limits, and could they run more than one time? And we'll start with the Senate because they get 6-year terms.
I don't know if I want to say 2 or 3. But 6-year terms.
I mean, that's what they get now. They get 6-year terms now.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't know if I would say two terms or 3 terms.
Because that's what, if you get 3 terms, that's 18 years. If you get 2 terms, 18, that's 12.
So that's 18
That's
years.
still more than what the president gets.
Yeah. But see, I can say 12 years.
Or you could change the term of a senator, make it 4 years, and then you only get 2. But that would take a constitutional change, which they probably are going to vote for. There you go with that. Now, Theus has got this maximum chill over it. I don't think for the House. Nah, I think for the House 12 is like, wait, they're too long. You need to sit down somewhere if we're going to have term limits.
See, the only problem I have with 12-year term is that's 10 years. We're literally changing everything per decade. And this country we don't know exactly what's in that decade at the time. What's the talking point, what's the hot topic button, and everything else. So you say 12 years, which is a little over a decade, which is over a certain, and I'm looking at it this way. What is the generational temperature right now as we speak within these 10 years? And then we wind up getting bunch of glittering morons who just look,
because
they're too close to the ground, and racism and homophobic and all this other stuff is the big top hot button right now. So let's go with that. something on my neck or something on my camera.
But only problem I have with the president being in power for 12 years. What if you get an idiot like Trump? I got to put up with that for 12 years? Oh my gosh, no. I want to get rid of them right away. As soon as I see you an idiot, I want to get rid of you right away. I want to make sure you're in, out of there, and you can do the least amount of harm. I can't imagine putting up with Trump for 12 years.
No, the president's. I think how he was saying it was he was talking about the Senate and the.
That's what he said.
Oh, good. No, heck no. I'm not putting no president in.
No, not 12 years. Nah, I don't want Trump for 12 years.
No.
He's sitting there, had to hear, I'm doing fabulous stuff. No.
Because then you're talking about a 6-year term. I don't want seriously, I don't want no president for 6 years straight. If I already got to do 8, and that's because you got voted in twice. Now you gonna talk about getting voted in twice again and get 12 years? No.
12 years of Trump, 12 years of Bush, 12 years of Reagan. Oh no. No.
And that's what impeachment is for. Trump was impeached twice.
And he still didn't get put out of office.
What happened?
Nothing.
Because he had a Republican House and a Republican Senate. You could impeaching him is the equivalent of
no. It was the opposite, Marlon. It was a Democratic House and Republican. Well, no, it was actually the second time it was a Democratic Senate, but it wasn't enough votes to bar him from office.
The point is, impeachment did absolutely nothing.
Yeah, but 12 years.
He's the first and only president that had got impeached twice.
Yeah, now he'll always have that as a record. Twice.
Yeah, as soon as you say that, you got some governor around here saying, hold my beer.
Trump, 12 years of okay, now here's my other question for you. Are you talking about one term of 12 years and that's max, or do they get to run for other terms? I mean, other offices. That's what I want to know. Yeah, we know that, but are you talking about one, like the president will run one time and never again? Or if this president is doing really good, can he or she run a second time? Same question for the House, same question for the Senate.
Maximum 3-4-year terms.
No, I still don't want you. I want to get rid of somebody like Trump as quickly as I can possibly. I need one to win, which is why I voted for Hillary. Yeah. But hearing that incoherent State of the Union, what did you say? I'll tell you the number one thing that I would do, like the first day I was president, that I would do. I would make Malcolm X's birthday a national holiday. It's completely ridiculous. It doesn't have anything to do with politics. But why is his birthday not a national holiday? I've never understood it. It makes no sense. I'm like, well, Dr. King's birthday is a holiday. Well, why can't Malcolm X's birthday be a holiday? They both were integral in the civil rights movement.
Because it's easier to whitewash Martin Luther King than it was Malcolm X.
That would be the first thing I would do. Second thing I would do, Medicare for all. Point blank, I wouldn't hesitate. It wouldn't be no hesitation for me. The third thing I would do would be kind of different for people like me to say. As much as I don't do this, the smell gets on my last nerves. I would make marijuana possession legal. And I would go back and expunge the records of all the people who got arrested on marijuana charges and just clean their records out. Because why are we putting people in jail? Okay, I don't do it. Personally, don't do it. But if somebody wants to do that and they're not out here, causing harm to others, why do we have them in jail? For what? I don't understand that. That would be as pointless. It's my point, though. My administration. Mine. Who's Tracy?
Why is he commenting more on here than if
Wait a minute. I just want to know who is Tracy. Who is Tracy? Who is that?
Tracy didn't say universal health care.
Tracy? Who Tracy? Who is this person named Tracy? I'm Tracy, but not Tracy. And yes, there is a point in making Malcolm X's birthday a holiday. He deserves it. Dang nabbit, he did a lot of great things for the civil rights movement, and he said a lot. I'm like, yes, that's what my administration would do. Other thing I would do, I would raise the minimum wage, but it would be $25 right off the top. I would not have $7.75 or $25 or whatever the minimum wage is. It's a disgrace of a joke. And especially for people, I didn't even realize that people who are in the service industry like waiters and waitresses, they don't even get paid $7.25. They're getting like $2.25. So they're really dependent on tips. And that, I'm like, we can't have that. Where you just gotta, put on your happy face and maybe somebody will leave you a tip, which is why I always tip when I go out to restaurants. Because that's tacky not to tip because they're really struggling. I would say mandatory housing for everybody. Housing to me is a right. You have a right to live in a house, whether it's an apartment, whether it's a house, a condo, a duplex. You should not be in danger of sleeping on the streets. There are 537,000 people at any point in this country who are homeless. And it's a country that, as rich as we are, with vacant buildings all over the land, we could house the homeless if we wanted to. I just don't think we want to. So that would be my thing. I'm like, everybody's getting a house. Other thing. Oh, that's still the Traxy. Other thing I would do is I would have a universal base income. Anybody over 18 would get $2,000 per month. You don't have to work to get it. You would just automatically get it. You could do whatever you wanted with that money. You could save up to buy a house. You could buy groceries. You could do a lot with it. Other thing I would do, I would cut military spending. It does not make sense that every time the Pentagon sits here and says, we want increased budgets, they get way more than they ask for. I'm cutting it. We're not at war with any countries that I can think of right now. Although we're bombing Somalia, we're supporting Saudi Arabia and bombing Yemen for some dumb reason. We're not at war with Russia, so why do we need this big, huge, overdrawn military budget for what? I don't understand. And I'm pausing because I want you to say something because the look on your face said you don't agree with me saying cut military spending.
I wouldn't cut military spending. I just would stop raising it. Whatever it is that you get, I mean, I'll make it real simple for the military. What you got last year, you go get this year. I'm keeping the budget exactly the way it is. The only issue that I ever had with the military spending, to be honest with you, is it just keeps raising and you don't have a reason why.
Yeah, there's no reason.
No reason why you're raising it every year. You had no problem running the government last year with the money we gave you in the billions.
So why do you need more money?
The same way now.
You can use the money you had last year. And, of course, I forgot this. Free 4-year college for those who want it. Why does it cost an arm and a leg to go to college if you want? Now, if you want to go to a trade school, perfectly fine. But some jobs have the unmitigated gall to require a master's degree, and they don't even pay $15 an hour. I want to know where these jobs think that you're getting this education from. I'm for the free. I'm for the free. Now, if you
college or a private institution?
No, not private. Private can do what they want. If you're a state college,
oh, okay.
You have to offer free tuition. Now I realize that some of those schools will probably become private on purpose, but we can get to that bridge when we come to it. I said guaranteed housing. I said guaranteed. Did I say guaranteed jobs? Because that's another thing I would do. Everybody would have a job. And
yes, I know.
Wait a minute, I see something. Tracy would have us bankrupt. No, I wouldn't.
You got this give. I'm
going to talk about my team.
You told us exactly how the world you paying for all of this.
I just said if I was president. I didn't say how you going to pay for it.
How are you going to pay for it?
That's not the question. The question was simply, if you were president, what would you do? I'm telling you what I would do. I'm not talking about how to pay for all this stuff yet. And I may get to it. I may not. I don't know. I don't feel like it. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. What was I going to say? And I'm still wondering, oh, wait a minute. Somebody's decided to jump in here. No, he didn't. What was I going to say? And I'm still wondering, wait a minute. You jumped in!
You're going to come on here. He's too quiet. He's too quiet now.
He's way too quiet. I got one question before you talk, Fizz. Who is Tracy? Way too quiet. I got one question. Wait a minute, I hear myself. Somebody got to turn their phone off. I hear myself.
That was me.
Oh.
Oh, God.
Boy, I was like, he too quiet.
No, he said Tracy didn't say universal.
I'm sorry.
He didn't say nothing about that. I said
my thumb.
No, I'm like, who is he talking about? I'm Tracy.
You're right. I'm sorry.
Oh, we're just joking with you. The question was not how you gonna pay for it. The question was simply, if you were president, what would you do? That's the whole.
If you being a president, you're responsible for all of that.
No, the question wasn't how you gonna pay for it. That'd be probably next week. But this time, I'm talking about what would you do? And I forgot reparations. Reparations for the descendants of African slaves.
In America.
In America.
The United States of
America. I'm not talking about the ones that like come from Africa. They just got here like last week. Nah, you don't count, sis or bruh. You don't count. This. Not for this.
I did want to add in that I will start taxing the rich, and I don't want to hear their mouth.
Oh yeah, they get it.
My very first term, that tax code is getting turned over by a group of legitimate accountants. The ones who not going to make a bunch of money off of it. And we're going to run through every code backwards and forwards to close all these loops. So y'all can start, y'all little rich $400,000 on up can start paying your fair share of taxes.
But what about when they take the money and then they put it in offshore accounts? How would you stop that?
They ain't going to put all of it in offshore accounts. Yeah, and look, the first thing about it is, even if you do, you put all your money in it, you still ain't gonna put all your money into an offshore account. So you still got to have money here, and I'm taxing that.
Yeah, my tax plan would be pretty simple, right? So, one, I would get rid of the ability to use assets to collateralize loans to create free money that's untaxed, because that's how wealthy people truly function. They don't use cash. They hold assets, they hold investments, and then they get 0% interest loans or like 1% interest loans from these institutions, and then they live off of the loan proceeds, and they never have to pay the loan because they just keep refinancing it, or eventually they do and they write off as a loss under one of the businesses. Kill all that. Make the tax plan very simple, because I don't think you should be punished because you're rich. I just think you should be accountable. So everybody has their access point to taxes. I would bring the tax rate pretty much down, corporate and federal, to something that's more. I mean, like Marlon said, I'd have to let the tax professionals come up with the numbers per se, but make it so you're not being beat over the head because you have a lot of money, but also make it so you can't hide it. Like there are no loopholes and tax breaks and write-offs and
Yeah.
Nah, dead all
Wait.
of that. You have X amount of money. This is your adjusted tax. Boom, here we go. So that would be how I would run that part.
Here's another thing that could go, and I know I'm gonna get some feedback from y'all on this one. I don't understand why we have a space program. I've never understood. I understand. I understand, like back in the day, we was trying to go to the moon, but we done been to the moon. Ain't nothing out there. Why are we wasting all this money on NASA?
Oh Lord, Tracy, no.
No, I can't.
You being sarcastic, right?
No, I'm being serious. I don't understand NASA. Okay, I'm like, what are they doing up there? Like,
so without the space program, we wouldn't be talking right now. So you got that because they got the
satellite, but you can send satellites up there without us.
Not without a space program, who you think figured out how to do it?
Bezos sent a president
Bezos used government money and resources to do it. Like the government helps pay for all of this.
I'm like, they spend way too much. I'm like, nah.
Of all the places to cut back, space ain't it, because you got to figure out how you're gonna try to save this planet. The whole thing about global warming, we wouldn't even know about it if not for the space program.
Yeah, blah blah blah. But we do. So I say,
I'm using facts, and your response is blah blah blah.
Blah blah blah. This is my administration, not yours.
You asked a question though.
I know, but I'm just saying. NASA can't with NASA.
We need to reelect. We got to reelect Trump because
I'm about close.
Because Tracy goes drive.
NASA's the only thing I'm like, I don't get it. Like, Tracy, I get
rid of the science.
No, I didn't say get rid of science. I did not say get rid of science.
NASA one of the armed forces.
It is.
Now that's
the Air Force.
No, space.
Yeah, we got space. Yeah, we got space force going.
Two different things. So you have NASA, which is actually an extension of the Air Force, right? Yeah. And then you have the Space Force, which always existed as a part of the Air Force, but that's the ones who does more of your strategic command, like lasers and all that stuff. Oh, and the satellite technology that none of us get to talk about or know about. Yeah, that kind of stuff happens over there.
We're talking about Trump. You know, doggone well.
All he did was rebrand it.
He was thinking about Battlestar Galactica.
He was
going out of space and fighting aliens on their grounds and everything else.
But my point is, he was the president, which means he
had the title.
He was the president. So however he did it, but his main thing in life is rebranding. So he literally took something that already existed and said, let's create something.
Yes, though he said to put nuclear bombs to stop hurricanes. He wanted to use nuclear bombs to stop hurricanes.
Yep.
All I'm saying is maybe we look at NASA and think, okay, yeah. Like I said, I had to do more research because I'm like, I don't get it. It's just one of those few things that it's not making any sense to me.
What part of never mind.
You're going to get rid of NASA.
I don't see the point of it. Like you're going to.
I literally just gave you 3 reasons why NASA is critically important.
But we already have. You can already send satellites up. You don't have to have.
Because we have medicine, we can stop now.
You do realize that this is a continuing issue that we have. This is not we know about it. Then we go. We know about it. So. Oh, we already got the satellite up there.
I said that's Tracy's administration. So we would either be able to impeach her, or after her first term, we'll go ahead and vote her on now.
I'm guaranteeing jobs for everybody. I don't know why people don't like that.
What kind of jobs?
What kind of jobs?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
You literally said before you said guaranteed jobs, you said guaranteed income and you don't have to work. So
no, you don't have to work to get it. It's only $2,000 a month. You can't live off of $2,000. You can't live off of $2,000 a month.
Yes, you can.
No, I cannot.
Not you, Tracy. It ain't all about you. Seniors now. But senior citizens right now are living off of $1,000 to $1,200 a month.
They shouldn't have to.
All across the country. I agree, but when you say that 2,000 ain't enough, it is enough if you're willing for that to be your standard of living, especially once you say, I'm going to give everybody a free house, everybody free medical care.
No, I said housing. Housing. It could be an apartment. It could be a duplex.
You can put them in a hut. I don't care. The fact is, now I got my hut. I got my health care, and
So
I got
y'all just honorable,
$2,000.
just letting people just sleep on the street.
No, see, you're
No,
playing.
I
You're
literally
playing. You're
said,
playing
how are
a
we going to
conservative
pay
argument.
for it? And you like that ain't whatever.
You literally
Hey,
just did a conservative argument.
okay.
If you don't agree with me, then you agree with the complete extreme
No,
opposite.
I'm just
That's
saying.
what you just did.
All
You
I'm
just
saying
did that.
was the question initially was, what would you do as president? I'm saying what I would do. Now
I
next
get
week
that part.
we
but I
may talk
said,
about how to pay for it. But
when
this
I
week we're
said,
talking about.
but when I said something, you said, so you just want everybody to be homeless, and I'm like, that's not what I said.
Hey Tracy, the only amount of money that you done came out of this, and you want to wait till next week, fine. We may have caught you off guard by saying how you gonna pay for this tremendous stuff that you gonna do for the government. Fine, we'll talk about it another time. But you do realize the only money right now that you using to pay for all this stuff is to get rid of one of the most important entities that we need in this country.
I don't think we
NASA to pay. I don't even know what.
But one thing I did want to point out,
for,
because I was with Tracy and I was with both of y'all on this one about the military thing. But I would say, instead of saying let's cut the budget, because I think that's just way too arbitrary. There's a lot of stuff that the U.S. government pays for through the military that none of us ever need to know about. Okay, that's just what it is.
Yeah, that is what it is.
There's stuff we should never know about. But the other part of it, though, is they should have to do accounting, though. And the problem we have right now is there's no accounting.
No accounting. Well, no, where they spend that money?
Only reason I said that don't cut the budget, just leave it the way it is, and right or wrong, we'll talk about that some other time, is ever since World War II, United States have always been in a way of fighting two wars at the same time. So just like we ain't never fought, we fought Germany and Japan
with people
at the same time.
Yeah, with people.
And right at that point in time, they have always said, and we're going to exercise ourselves, train ourselves, discipline ourselves to always be ready to fight two wars at the same time. Have we ever done it since? No.
I wonder who
they don't care.
But we're not even at war. Okay, but
if they have to, they can.
But
Afghanistan and Iraq.
Go ahead. Sorry, yeah, I was going to say, who are we at war with now, technically? We're not at war with Russia. We're bombing Somalia. Who are we at war with?
We're at war with terrorism, which allows us to go to war anyway.
See, that's such a vague term. I'm like, who is it? Is anybody bombing the United States? No.
But you don't have, your military is not there to, okay, I'm sorry. Marlon, you know better than I do because you actually served. But the military is not just to be a defensive weapon, especially when you spent 200 years abusing the rest of the globe. So America needs to have the biggest stick because there's a lot of people ready to hit America back. That's one. And then two, no, they're not attacking the mainland because we keep fighting people everywhere else. So if we stop doing that, people don't just forgive you.
Oh, no, I'm not saying get rid of the military. That I did not say.
But if you cut it, like arbitrarily cut it in half, you are cutting in half whatever there is. And we don't know how deep that runs.
25%, they can still do what they do.
We don't know, but I agree that it should definitely be pulled up, and they should
Are you sure about that?
And more money should go to the soldiers. Because that's another part of talking with people who are in the current military. No,
just cut their budget.
No, you don't have to cut. When I say cut military spending, and I say give more to the soldiers, they go together. Let me explain what I mean. So let me explain what I mean. When you cut military budget, I don't mean stop giving all of these contracts to these contractors to build nuclear arms. That's the stupidest. Like, stop doing that. But when I say pay the military people, they can't survive off of $17,000 a year. They can't. There's no way they can. And they have to pay for their own medicines, and they have to pay for their own housing.
No, they don't.
Now, this is according to what somebody told me about being in the military.
If you're an active duty soldier, they ain't paying for none of that.
If you stay on base, you ain't got to do jack.
And if you're off base, they give you an
Your
allowance.
grocery store is on the base, and you don't pay taxes. Oh,
But you do pay for it.
Yeah, you're not gonna get free
okay.
food.
I'm just asking.
But if you're a GI, like if you're a private or you're living in the barracks, you may not even be paying for
not
food.
paying rent.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot that goes into it. I get that part. But the government is still, unfortunately, run like a business in its own way. So if you cut their budget, they are not. It goes against human psychology. American psychology is better. It goes against American psychology that if we cut the budget, we're going to increase payroll. That never happens. Like that. No, if you're gonna cut something, the first place we cutting is gonna be payroll, and then they'll start pushing more money to these other things that none of us like drones and all that stuff, so that it can just have hardware that can be recycled instead of people.
The peopleware, yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you right up. I can tell you exactly if it starts getting real bad, Tracy. I can tell you exactly what they'll start doing. Because they're going to get their money back. Watch all these bases start slowly shutting down and integrating with other bases.
Like they did a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I thought they had already did that.
They'll do more.
They'll do
a whole lot more. See, that's the deal about dealing with the government. People keep thinking, if I cut this, and I'm not picking on you, Tracy, I'm just telling you exactly how these people work. When you cut even company, because Theus is right, we're treating this like a country, and we keep thinking if we cut something from a company, we cut something from the government, that it'll trickle down to the people and everything else. No, let's just say this. They have a base number in their head. It is concrete. They're not moving off that number. So you take away from them, they're going to take away whatever they can get their hands on that's not nailed down to the ground to get that number.
And the last thing they're going to touch is a contractor's contract. They will not touch their pocket until they have cut everything else they can get.
Yeah, but I want to get back on this thing about me saying everybody would get a guaranteed job. It does not matter what the job is. You can drive. No, let me explain. You could be an Uber driver. That's a job.
No, that's a government takeover now. Go ahead.
No, I'm not talking about a government takeover. I'm just talking about a guaranteed job for everyone where they could, be a tax-paying citizen. We could get some tax money that way.
What you paying taxes on? I'm giving you everything. What you paying taxes on?
What'd you say, Marlon?
What's stopping people from getting a job now?
Some people, like the homeless people, they don't have an address to put down on their application. Oh, and you got to do it on the line.
We're taking care of that with the housing. So we don't have.
Well, then we haven't taken care of that because no application that I know of is done like on paper anymore. Everybody's normally just online.
We can set up computer labs. But my thing is, the bigger issue is, to me, Americans don't like to share, and we do not believe in shared sacrifice.
Nope, we sure don't.
So you hear in the news that we have a housing shortage. No, we do not. There are plenty of structures that can be converted into apartments and little communities and all of that. But there's no profitability in it. So our culture discourages that. So in order to accomplish the things you're talking about, it would have to be a government takeover or expansion, right? Because you can't, I know you were just using Uber like as an example, right? But Uber is a private company, so you can't make them hire people. Then you'd have to give these people cars, right? Right? All this stuff happens. But you can do like they did for white people during the 1920s through the 50s and do just big things like building the dams, because our dams are in terrible shape.
Yeah, our roads, our bridges, our highways.
Right. So you can do that. So that's an influx of things you can work at. The government can take over some of these malls and turn them into something, right? And now you can hire people to do that there. So I'm with you as far as that is concerned. But in order to expand the government, you have to expand the taxes. You have to. And just hitting some rich people up on another 3-4% of their money, that ain't gonna get you. You know what I'm saying? You can hit them up to like 90%, like they did to the rich people in the 20s. Still ain't gonna get you. So everybody has to put into this pot in order to grow it. And then once you start doing that, healthcare gets more expensive. So like it all comes. We could do it.
You don't think we could come up with the money if we start taxing at 10%?
I mean, we just gave $800 million to the
$400,000.
Ukraine. Why can't we just take that money?
Different budget.
Oh, that's a budget.
It's not a bunch. It is BS from the way that the government does things.
Yeah,
right?
the way they're doing it. I'm like,
but the thing is like it's easy for us to, like, for example, one of the things that frustrates me, you can not only spend, we're heading towards $1 trillion heading to Ukraine, right? Because we're using them, literally using them in their lives as a proxy war with Russia. This is a matter of convenience for America. Okay, right. So let's not twist it. That's why America's doing it. It never does anything for humanitarian reasons. So they are fighting Russia over there, so we don't have to fight Russia. That's what that is. But we've also committed to helping to rebuild Ukraine.
Yes.
So that's going to be more money when this ends, right?
Yeah.
Because of the fact we are using them as a prop. But all that, I don't care if you do it. Fine, America, you want to do that? Fine. I think it's nice to do something good, even though you're doing this for evil reasons. But you can rebuild a nation, but you will not rebuild the Black community.
That's exactly my point.
Where the argument falls apart, though, is it's different pockets, because anything that's tied to war is an appropriation. It doesn't have to be balanced. It just gets created.
Yep, they just find it. Like, oh, we just found it.
For domestic spending, it has to be allocated. So that means it has to be traceable. That's how they keep from helping American citizens, but they can push money out everywhere else because a lot of the other money is coming through the military budget that we don't get to see.
And you got to understand that when we go to war, everybody keeps thinking, well, I'm not going to put that in everybody's head. Probably nobody's thinking that. War is basically no more than power. And America is the king of doing things, because I don't want anybody to think the only reason everybody wants to go to war because of the money and everything. It is to an extent. It is. I mean, let's be realistic. We'll build a tank in like 10 seconds if we can sell it. It don't have to work. We just have to build it. But it's always going to be for the term of having power. Why do we go into other countries? To liberate them and all that other stuff? It ain't out of the counters of our hearts. Yeah. It's power. If
we haven't exported democracy
another country yet. To think American way of life, we got another ally and we ain't spent a freaking dime because it's power. We build our power.
Who is this ally you're talking about?
The opposite of what we're doing, and it actually is kind of working, is China. China will backdoor into anything. Watch and see what they wind up doing with Africa, because that's what they're working on right
China's now. Already doing that with the islands, and it's already doing that with Africa. But here's where I get frustrated with the China-American thing. See, for the only reason Americans look at China like they're doing something wrong is because they're our chief competitor.
Right.
There's no reason, in my view, to say that violent overthrow is better than economic, what's the term? Crippling or manipulation. Yeah. See, China does soft takeovers.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, you are still now in a compromised position to them, but they didn't kill anybody. They didn't take over your government. They took over your economics, and they laid your infrastructure, and they have deals. So, you know, if you piss them off, I'm sorry, Tracy, if you make them mad, then they'll stop fixing your roads and stuff, and you're going to be right back to the mess you were in, right? So you have that soft undercurrent that's going. But America does the opposite way. We go into your country to show you that we're bigger and badder than you, blow it all up, and then leave.
And then leave them people. Yeah, look at Afghanistan. We pulled out of Afghanistan, and now that country is in just horrific shape.
Right. But if China had gone in there, I know it's a
Oh, look at
hypothetical,
them.
but
Oh,
if they
they're
had gone in there, they would have gone in and they would have bribed people and put money in different places and built up schools and do all that. But they still would have let the Taliban be largely as jacked up as they are, right? But they would have raised everyone's standard of living. And America would have looked at them and said, well, the women still can't go to school.
or they can't drive. We can't drive cars.
Please.
We can't drive cars, but they still. It's
Taliban
like,
just said the girls couldn't go to school anymore. What, 2 days ago?
yeah. It's like pick your takeover. You want a soft takeover, or do you just want somebody to come in and just,
America exporting democracy since 1920 something, and never got it done right yet.
We can't even get it right here.
No,
we can't get it right here. Basically,
no, because where's the power? You use the example
they already have the power.
And Tracy of building black communities. Where's the power in that?
It would make sense because if
the Democrats already got it in your head that they're the right cause, and the Republicans ain't helping by acting like monsters to make the Democrats, who acts like corporate CEOs, look like the most fantastic thing in this country, in which they're not. So build back the black communities for what?
And I'll expand it even more
to make America better.
How and who?
Because if you build,
we vote just
wait
like
a minute.
Americans.
No, I wasn't gonna say that. If you build a prosperous black community, that's going to benefit everybody. Am I right or wrong? Because we're creating jobs. Mm-hmm. We're putting money into the economy. Mm-hmm. If you have a strong black communities, because I'm talking about all of America, then you're naturally going to have, that's going to naturally benefit the United States.
And that is absolutely true if you're willing to isolate. The problem with America is that there will always be a huge part that it's just part of the culture that someone has to be at the bottom. So it doesn't necessarily have to be us. America is not, it's not that America has racist issues, don't get me wrong, but it's really that America has a caste system. And so in order for capitalism to function, you have to have an undervalued population, because they're the ones that you can, discard or
you can discard them. Right. Don't pay attention to them. Complain.
You have to have that.
And now you have to now we're going right back to the military, because guess where the majority of your soldiers, your airmen,
they come from those disenfranchised communities. Yeah, most of the people in the military are people of color.
Right. So for what you're saying, you raise that bottom up.
Yeah.
One of the main things that has always sustained poor white people on as a whole, what has sustained them is that they were still better than your middle class black person.
And I apologize, I got 2 more minutes and I got to jump off.
Oh, I got to bounce too. But I'm just saying, as far as what you're touching on,
so you're not going to be in the after talk room.
No, I can't. I got to go to sleep.
No, there's another show I got to set up for.
I'm going to be doing this by myself, but that'll be okay.
I'm sorry. I wasn't even supposed to jump on now. I apologize. But anyway, yeah, Tracy, I'm with you as far as
how you going to come up with this money.
That's next week.
No, but Tracy, I agree with you as far as you do need to help everyone. I mean, everyone. But the problem is America needs to make sure that you don't look at everyone as yourself. And as long as that's the case, good luck with the rest of it.
Well, and since Marlon and Theus have to go, we're going to get into our last subject, which I was wishing we could talk about a lot longer than we stayed on them attacking my administration. But my question is with this. With all of the things that Americans could be mad about, again, I said 500,000 plus homeless people, $16 billion being pulled from COVID, the Antarctica, 70 degrees. Why is social media, the media, so concentrated on a slap? I literally don't get it. Is it a distractionary tool to keep our minds off of it? Or is it just, well, that's what I think it is.
It's a proxy war. You can take from it whatever you want. That's literally why that's how we all are across all of the groups. We want a distraction, we want an escape. That's one. So there's that proxy war. Then there's a proxy war of two black men fighting on stage. That's another proxy war. Then you have, would he do it if it was a white person? Another proxy war. Then it's defending black women, another proxy war. So it's like you can literally, whatever your flavor is, you can tie your little horse to that moment
To
and run
anyone
with it.
else.
That's why I just didn't care anymore.
Oh, I
I
care a
don't
great
I
deal, but
didn't care when it happened. I mean, it was interesting when it happened, and Facebook destroyed that interest in less than 24 hours.
Yep.
I don't care what happens then. I don't care what's happening now. I don't care what happens in the future because the whole mentality, whether you want to hear it or not, all depends on if you like Will Smith, if you like Chris Rock, if you don't like Will Smith, if you don't like Chris Rock, your whole upbringing in life. Because if I would, if
yeah,
you,
it can go every
all
way.
it is, this whole thing is interesting to society because society always want to see themselves in that limelight. Because if I
But
hear one more time about if I was in his shoes, bro, you're not. You wasn't
but
even invited. You
I think
halfway didn't even know the show was on. And you probably wouldn't know the show was on if somebody didn't tweet you and go, "Oh, guess what? You missed that. You missed." So please miss me with this whole production was done by all black production company. You wouldn't even watch the show for that matter. But you
Thank you.
want me to care about that little slap across the lips because I'm sick and tired of all y'all. He snapped on crab and he did 12 back flips and smashed up against the wall. Boy, you barely touched his lips. I'm done. Y'all have yourselves a ball until Kim Kardashian does another TV reality
Or
show
Kanye does
and
something.
butt lip her lips. Or so. I
um
don't care no more. Whatever.
but Marlon, that wasn't my question though. My question was why are we so easily destroyed? Like why don't we care that there's 500,000 people
Because
sleeping
we
on the
won't.
streets?
Because we. I think I answered it. I mean, in my little rant, I did. Because we always want to see these people as ourselves.
And I have a
And
different
what we
take.
would do if we was in that and all this other stuff, and we are always going to be the 30-day Dr. Phil and analyze some stuff to death until the next story comes out. So yeah,
And I think
and
the
yes,
main
Tracy,
reason,
you will still bankrupt this country in one term.
but I do think it's about escapism because one of the things that sticks in my craw, as that saying goes,
Ooh,
is
that's all right.
whenever someone wants to um and I do this sometimes myself, but whenever someone wants to belittle a moment, and in this case, this is a pretty little one unless you're coming from one of the other, your own little special interest viewpoint, right? Um, we say something like, well, what about the veterans? What about the homeless? What about it? There ain't nobody worrying about them if they don't have somebody to compare them to. That's
I know you're gonna say no one-offism. I know. Go ahead, yell at me.
I'm not. It's your show. But I think that's the big thing because if I say to you, Tracy, how do we solve the education crisis in America? That's one thing. But if I say to you, what you think about Will Smith smacking Chris Rock? Which one's easier to go off on and invent?
The second one is easier.
Yeah.
And that's what people do.
Yep. Well, royal family, I want to thank you. That's what we're known as. We're the royal family now. The family of royals. Sophisticated, classy,
And a
regal.
hot mess.
We're not hot mess. We are awesome. So I invite everyone to
Can I
like
be
this.
T'Challa?
I invite everyone to like this video, but Marlon, quickly tell everyone where they can find you.
I thought you could find me in Wakanda, but I guess not.
I'm
So
I'm I'm the chief from Coming to America. Oh, I'm Prince Joaquin.
They don't eat. They take my little family for granted.
I got more money than you.
Marlon, tell us
You
where
can
they can
find
find.
me on Radical Truth to Power every Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Dang it. You can find me at Saturday Night Vibe every Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find me on Radical Truth to Power every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can also find me on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. All in the same name.
Yes.
ComplexMindSimpleMan.com. I'm not really putting out new content at this moment, adjusting to this job, but I do periodically put out new Patreon videos. So become a Patreon, help support the cause, and check out some content.
Royal family, it's time to say goodbye. And I'm actually going to, since you guys won't be there, it's not going to be fun talking to myself about my topic. So I'm going to actually save it for next Thursday. If you guys don't mind, hopefully y'all show up and won't leave me out here all stranded. But I invite you all to like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and do not forget September the 3rd. You can find all that on my website at tracymediallc.com. Thank you for joining us and have a fantastic evening.
Wakanda forever.